Hey, Traveler Flies, thanks for stopping in. Just getting fired up here. We're going to be doing some Terry's Black Ants tonight. Now we're just going to bring our thread base back down to the hook point. Sorry, barb. 3 or 4 wraps back. And break our excess off there. For our body, we're going to be using this West German black floss. You can just make it a thread body, or any black floss you have would work fine. Hey Manic, nice to see you drop in, mate. Hey Dad, how's it going? Good to have you drop in. I just set up a new mic, so let me know if the levels and everything are okay for you guys. They look okay on my control boards, but lights and meters are one thing. So let me know if it's too hot or if the music's too low or anything along those lines. My pre-testing made the mic sound a lot better than my previous mic, so. Even though the previous mic was substantially more expensive. That's the way things go. Cool, I'm glad it's sounding okay for you guys. So you can feel free to just do these with a thread body, especially if you're using a thicker thread. I'm just using 8/0 waxed uni. If you're using a thicker wattage, you can definitely do these without using floss for sure. But it will use up a good amount of thread. Now we're just going to pop that in our bobbin cradle. You want your floss to be laying fairly flat. We're going to do a single row coverage all the way up to the halfway point. It's kind of where my thread tie off point is there. Once you get to that point, we'll go all the way back again. Keep in mind not to snag her on the hook point. And we're going to want to stop one of your floss widths from the end. Now I'm just going to hand wrap the rest of this here. We're going to go all the way back again, one floss width from the end. And then we're going to reverse, go back again. What this is going to do is give us a nice even taper as we build the body up. And same thing this time we get to that end, now we're going to be 2 width points back. And now we're going to be 3. See if my chunk here is going to be long enough. Then 1 wrap in the center. And just to be on the safe side, I'm going to grab some hackle pliers that got a little shorter on me quicker than I wanted it to, but we're good. Still got lots left. Okay, so you're basically working it forwards, working it back, working it forwards again, going slightly smaller each time. That'll build you up a really nice football-shaped body. Just gonna 2 wraps to anchor it in, then 2 wraps behind. Then I'll bring it forward. 2 locking wraps, so we can cut it off. And we'll just snip our excess and then bury the tag in. We're doing that all in the back half of the hook. The front half is going to be cut into basically 2 halves. We're just going to do a thread base up to the top here. About 2 thread lengths back from the front, and once we'll tie in our red floss. In this case, it's going to be uni. Single ply, red. Well, we can use 3, 4 ply, whatever you got, or even just some red thread would be fine. Do 2 wraps here and just sneak that floss back a bit so we get a nice tie-in on it. Gonna tie the floss back roughly about the length of our bobbin head here. That's about perfect right there. Bring our thread back up to the front and tie it off with a couple half hitches. And that's where we'll finish the head up. I'm just going to hand wrap this forward because we're only doing a smaller section here. Again, I'm going to go all the way up just before the eye. We're going to leave a little bit of space there, tie off with a whip finish. And then I'm going to bring it back. And again, we're going to stop just 1 length before the end and then back again. And again, just 1 length. Now we're just going to do a couple wraps in the middle for that. I don't know if we'll get a couple, but 1 wrap and then forward where we can tie it off. There it be. That's pretty easy. You can do this with thread alone. It just goes a little quicker if you're using floss. You will get a slightly different coloration too with floss over using thread. As you'll see in a second here, once we get this done up, I'm just going to do 2 wraps to pin in that tag end, and then we'll find where we put our whip finisher down and we'll tie off the head here. Just do 3 or 4. This is all going to get covered in lacquer shortly, so you're not trying to super secure it. It's not really going to be going anywhere. You want to get a few. I like to have a nice little black head on there. So about three thread lengths or so. Probably fine. About the width of my whip finish tool. And if you don't like that black head, you can definitely back it off and just do a nice thin collar there. Or you can even finish this off with red thread. You could switch in the middle if you want. And you can mix up the red and the black. Give yourself a red band in the middle. Kind of whatever you want. This is a traditional pattern, however, though. There you go. Simple. You could easily do that with thread body. I've been playing with a couple different. I did a post on the community forum, so if you guys want to check that out later. This one seemed to do the best for me. Playing with 3 different lacquers. So we got your basic Sally Hansen, hard as nails. This is just a dollar store pickup, but it's really jelly-like, so it's a little bit hard to put on, but it does give it a nice, more UV style, thicker shine. Now the biggest difference between doing a thread body and using the floss is how the lacquer will affect it. When you're putting your lacquer on, you can use UV resin. I don't use UV resin. But when you do put your lacquer on, and UV resin to some extent, it'll change the color because it'll soak in and you'll get more of that black thread underneath. So whatever you use as a base color, it's going to show up a little bit on the point there. Just clean that. It'll show through the red and either make it darker or lighter or roughly the same color if you just made a thread body. I don't specifically cement the head itself, but I mean, you're getting so much on there that it's going to soak into the fibers. Once this dries, there's pretty much no way it's coming back apart. I'm gonna try and get just a little bit more on the top there without crowding the middle section, if I can do that. Being just a little fussy on me. There we go. Nope. One step I missed. Get yourself an old quill from a rooster hackle. This is just from Grizzly Rooster Hackle, but really don't matter any. And just stick it in while you're doing that. It'll save you from getting anything in the eye. I'm just going to rotate this for a minute just till it starts setting up. Hook size? I'm doing 2 different hook sizes tonight on this one. I'm going to be doing some 12s and some 14s. The 12's in the vise right now. Really not a huge difference between the two. They're very light scud hook, basically. They have a nice, real light bend to them. So you can tell. It's not a full scud, kind of somewhere in the middle between a scud and an nymph hook. But I like the way that it's shaped, so. And being black hooks, they go well with the ants. Just gives it that little bit of a curved body that you get with an ant, because the abdomen's going to be so heavy. Okay, to speed things up for you guys, because this does take a little while to dry. I've pre-tied 3. These are 3 different lacquers. I'm liking the one on, what side are we on here? Probably this one. That one I like the best out of all of them. They're very, very close. There's just 3 different brands of lacquer. I was kind of surprised at the difference in color that it did for the floss. It got much darker than the other 2. But just to speed things up, we're gonna go with that. By the time this one's dry, we'll get to another and another. So we'll switch over to that. Now we're going to be putting in wings. These are just very small, grizzly saddle hackle. Actually, these might be cape hackle. Sorry. Yeah, these are probably cape. I'm just going to be removing the excess. I'm going to be tying in the extra fibers here, but there's a little bit on the long side. And we're going to be tying these in one at a time. But I forgot, I don't have any thread, so let's get the thread back on there. There we be. Okay, traditionally this would be tied with a black. Let's see if I got one here. These guys. Black wing with just a little bit of white speckling on it. But all the ants we have around here have like a gray to white wing, so I'm just going to be using these grizzly hackles. I think it represents represents an ant wing much better. I want to have it going off just a little bit farther than the abdomen section. It's going to be tying in just at the black band on this grizzly hackle here. We'll just do 2. Hold it in place. I just want it coming off like that. Just coming off the side there. Hey Vilgrams, how you doing, mate? It's been a bit. Man, you've been going hardcore at the streaming. Been enjoying all your creek fishing. Sorry if I miss up on the chat there, guys. I'll catch up on it. Yeah, pleasure to have you guys here. There we go. We just want them tied off like that, roughly about the same length. That'll do perfectly fine. Hey, thanks for the sub, appreciate that. Yeah, thanks for subscribing, Michael. I'll just get rid of the waste ends there. I want to be somewhat careful with the amount of wraps I'm getting this here because I don't want to fill it in. I want to still have that dip. So we're going to wait until we tie in the hackle bit. And I'm just going to be using the same thing. This is basically what we'd be traditionally using for the wings. I'm going to also be using it for the legs. And it's sized just perfect for ant legs. Don't got to do a whole lot of work to it. We're just going to be removing the fluff off either side here. But any black hackle you got is fine. This clearly is a traditional non-genetic hackle. There. And I'm just going to cut it a little short on the one side. Give us a little travel room for when we're tying it in there. We'll bring that up with about 3 or 4 wraps, and that'll finish bearing in our wings. Bring it back up. And I'm just gonna get one. Just gonna get 1/2 hitch right before the head there. It's kind of a little save point, so my little thread doesn't go all cattywampus on me. There we go. Beauty, that should work fine. Now I'm gonna dare try using this articulated hackle pliers again. See if we have a little better luck with it today. Nope. Alright. Go back to Old Faithful. So let me find her. Now these aren't here to float the fly, they're just there to imitate the legs, so 3 to 4 wraps is perfectly adequate. In our case, I think we're gonna get probably 3 here. And we'll get rid of our waist tackle in. Just gonna turn the fly here a bit so you guys can see better. We're just gonna open our scissors just a bit so we got a little V notch in there. And just the tension of the hackle will be enough to cut it off without losing any. There it be. Cute little red ant. I'm just gonna get two half hitches in here. That'll lock it in place, and we'll do some whip finish to finish it off in place there. There we go. And there you have Terry's ant. Just to finish off the tie-off point and the dressing point, we're just going to add a little bit of head cement, which is a lot thinner than lacquer. That's going to set in there. Clean up our collar and soak into those threads, keep everything together. I'm glad you're enjoying Pilgrims. That's a really cute little ant pattern. And it's simple. Like really anyone could tie this one. All you need is really black thread. You could even do it with black thread and a little bit of red nail polish. Nothing saying you can't do that. The red floss is going to be a lot more durable, of course, but this is a perfect kind of surface breaker for when terrestrials are starting to come out. If you get ant hatches, they're going to be all over the place. Hey Yoshi, good to see you, mate. What brand is the spinning wheel on that one? That is a good question. I think it's just an old South Bend, to be honest. I'm not sure which rod I grabbed. It was whatever was in my trunk. Unfortunately, I lost my two favorite hooks on that live stream too. Nothing special, they're just wedding bands I've had for years that haven't managed to get caught on anything, and of course I lose both of them in the same day. It was just too hot. Yeah, feel free to subscribe, guys, leave a like, all that good stuff, nice happy feelings. Quite happy with how those wings turned up. Yeah, that's good enough. We're gonna pop this guy. Let's put him over here. He can start his own little friend group of the finish flies. And we'll get the next one going. Gonna get all these 12s, all these 12s done first, and then we'll move on to the 14s. It's always a little bit of a challenge to center these scud hooks because there's no real flat spot on them. But that's pretty close. I'm happy with that. That'll work fine. We're going to start our tie-in point pretty much right smack in the middle. That's where we want the abdomen to tail off at. We're going to bring our thread base all the way back to the barb again without catching our thread on the barb, of course. Let's check that. Yep, that looks good. We're gonna do 3 or 4 wraps back to set it. Break off our tag end. I need to get some more of this lovely black floss. Thankfully, I got quite a bit of this, but I don't think I'll ever find more of it if I need it. Like a lot of my favorite materials, this stuff's quite old. It's from West Germany, so that dates the separation in Germany, so it's going to be right around there. If you don't have black floss, feel free to just grab some black thread that's a decenter size. It'll just speed up your wrapping. Or you can definitely just make this as a thread body and just keep building it up. Very inexpensive fly to tie, very effective. Great fun pattern if you're just starting out. Now we're just going to do our tie-in point. Just a hair past half there so we can start where our wing base and all that's going to be. Doing 2 half hitches there to do a little save point. So it's not going to wrap around when we put it in our bobbin holder there. Your first couple wraps, you want to make sure your floss is flat so you're getting a nice flat coverage. If it starts to bind up on you as you go after that point, it's not going to matter so much. But the first wrap, you want to try and get it nice and flat. Bring it right up to that halfway mark. And then we're going to head our way back again. Watching that hook point so we don't wreck our floss, because floss and hook points don't mix well. We're going to stop just basically a floss width length from the edge each time we're going back and forth. That way as we finish it, it'll slowly build the body up, do a nice kind of football ant butt shape. I'm just going to hand wrap this last bit here. It's not going too far. So again, now we're 2 thread lengths from the back. Now we're about 3 thread lengths from the back and changing direction. And you'll get 1 wrap in the middle and work your way back to your tie-in point, which is going to be just in the middle of your last wrap and where your tie-off point was. You want to get 2 or 3 good firm base wraps in first. That'll lock your thread. So when you bring it on the inside of your material and up, and then 2 more lock-in threads again. It's nice and locked in. You don't have to worry about it. Being that floss is slippy, I always like to do 2 locking wraps on it, just to be on the safe side. And I'm going to do 1 or 2 more going back, and that'll just help to build up the base we're going to have our wing in there. And we're just going to release our excess. You can leave a little bit of a tag in there because you're going to be bearing it anyway, so it's all good. We're going to bring our thread base all the way up to the eye, and just in front of it. I'm going to do 1 more half hitch at that point, and we'll switch over to our red floss. Well, I'm going to go overboard, do 2 half hitches, and somehow break my thread very gently. Okay, well, if I'm going to break it, that's a great place to break it, actually. Let's back that up. This will make it slightly thicker than I want it to there, but other than the wing tie-in, like if you wanted to use a much thicker thread for this, you definitely can get away with that without any issue. 8/0's fairly small. Yeah, if you wanted to do a much thicker thread, feel free, and then you can switch to a thinner thread when you're tying on the hackle and the wings. It'll make the fly go a little bit quicker for you. So, same thing, we're going to be using our Uni-Floss single ply. Single ply stuff's actually kind of hard to come by, so if all you can find is 3-ply or 4-ply, go at her, because that's same stuff. The only difference is it's a little more of a pain to work with because it likes to separate. So if you're working with 3 or 4-ply, you may want to separate it ahead of time into a single ply, because you don't need a whole lot. Flosses can be a love-hate relationship for a lot of people. They make beautiful work, but they like to fray. So a good tip is just every time you tie a floss in, make a nice clean cut. A lot of times when they're fraying all over the place, the issue is that it wasn't cut clean and you're getting multiple fibers kind of going all left and right and cattywampus on you. Once you get 2 or 3 wraps in there, just give it a gentle pull back. That'll tighten everything down and you can tie in your tag end. Want to leave a spot there. Our head we want to have roughly just a little bit less than our bobbin width. I'm pretty happy with that tying point. That'll be fine just where it is right there. Bring it up to the front again and we'll do another half hitch. It's going to hang out in our material clip. And back into our bobbin cradle. Let me catch up with chat here while I'm wrapping this up. So same thing with the wrap for the head. We're going to go even all the way along. You really just want to have a nice base coverage for your first wrap. You want to leave 1 thread length to the eye, or 2 if you're going to leave a bigger head. All depends on what your ants look like where you are. Some have like little army helmet black heads, and if that's the case, you might want to leave a little more space there or fill it in after. I'm going to go back to the head again, stopping 1 thread length from the end and then going back. Again, stopping 2 from that side and then going back in. And we're pretty much smack in the middle. I think that's kind of right where I want it. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna tie an ant, it may as well be a nice juicy ant. I think the fish get a little happier when they see a nice, well-fed, juicy, fat, butted ant. And normally I'd leave slightly larger tag ends. See, it's pretty close there. Just a little guy sticking up. Just because floss is so slippy, tag ends kind of help it to bind in better. But this whole thing's going to be covered in lacquer, so really don't matter. Get our 2/2 hitches in here. Not only does that act as a save point, but it allows you to change direction if need be with your whip finish. Now you can see now the line is completely tied in and not loose whatsoever. So you can change direction, left to right if you need be. We're not doing that in this case, but just habit. Good habit to get into. And we're just going to do 3-4 wraps. And that'll bind everything in. Right on top of that tie-off point. Alright, looking good. Alright. I'll put my scissors. There we are. Okay, so we're going to cut that off. I am going to lacquer this one, but to save time, we're going to use one of the pre-lacquered bodies to tie the wings and legs on. And so far, I'm really liking this Sally Hansen's Hard as Nails hardener. It seems to soak into the floss a lot better than the other two, and gives it a nice kind of dark, rich red color, which our ants around here have more than the shiny kind of Christmas red like this is. But you should see that change as it starts to soak in there. Well, if you're a user of UV glue, you can definitely do this with UV. In fact, it would probably be easier. I don't use UV glue though, unfortunately I have an allergy to it. If you do need to fix any parts that come up as you're lacquering, it's better to deal with those once it's dry. Like if you have any hairs stuck in it or fingerprints or anything like that that you need to adjust. Just like if you're painting a car, you don't want to touch it till it's dry, then you can come back and deal with that after. Just going to be taking some off of the middle here. Starting to set up on me. Just trying to get this thinned. Yeah, that'll set nice like that. Yeah, once the lacquer dries, this is going to be, just a solid body. It's not going anywhere. Hey, show flies. Good to have you in, mate. And Muddy Water Outdoors, good to see you too. And Duckaholic Gamer is back. Sorry if I missed anyone. Sleep can be an elusive thing for a lot of people. It's all good. That's what we're here to just chill out and enjoy. Once this sets, I might do one more coat on this one. Looks like I kind of bumped it right there, so we'll let this one dry, and then we can, like I said, once it sets, we can touch it up and get a nice shiny coat on it. You definitely don't have to be too big with them. They are ants. This guy should be dry now. Yep, good deal. If you are using lacquer to do the bodies, just nail polish. For me, it seems like about 10 minutes, give or take, is a good set time. If you go too soon, it's still tacky, and if you touch it, you'll leave a fingerprint and get rid of that gloss. But this one seems good. I don't seem to be breaking the gloss layer, so we should be good. And just tie our thread back in. The other benefit to UV would be you wouldn't have to remove your thread. You could just set the UV and just thread back. I'd probably just do an under wrap under the head at that point if I was trying to save time. We're just gonna be using these guys for the wings. Just gonna be removing probably about a good half of that. Sort of too long. Looks like we'll be tying in just after that black there. So I'm gonna get rid of the white too then. Yeah, that'll do. Just gonna get them both done up together here. Here's the other one. I think these had roughly the same banding on them. Yeah, it looks to be. Same thing, we'll remove it down to that point. There's nothing wrong with tying them in. So make sure I got that right here. There's nothing wrong with tying them in with the extra barbs on. Yeah, those look pretty. We'll go with those. That'll do just fine. That'll do. I'm tying them in shiny side up just because they're a little prettier that way. That'll do. Again, we don't have to worry about tying these in too tight because we're going to be hackling over top. We don't want to fill in that thorax too quickly. So we'll remove our excess here and we'll get our hackle tied in. And those stubs, the cutoff points there, you can see the little white ones, they should be buried in when we finish off our hackle, so I'm not too worried about that. And again, we're just going with regular traditional black rooster. These are just from the top of around the neck of a cape. Perfect size. Shiny black, just like ant legs. And we're just going to move a little bit more material from our top than our bottom. So we get about half a wrap or so in there before we start getting some hackle out. Just give us a little bit cleaner hackle wrap there. There we are. And just be on the safe side, just going to throw in a half hitch. Just on the other side of the head. There we are. Just a little save point. Hey, Glacier Sharkson. What's up, mate? I'm sorry I missed your stream today. I was trying to catch little bits of it. It's kind of first main day with the kids going to school, so. Yeah, it's an ant. It's a Terry's black ant. It's an old pattern from 1945. My assumption would be someone named Terry came up with it. Can you imagine how upset he'd be if his name was actually Bruce? And all this time people have been tying his fly incorrectly. We're just going to get 3 wraps. I think I got 3 wraps there. Lack of counting, but I think we're good. Get 2 wraps to tie it off. I'm going to go back and do that one more time here. 1, 2. Yeah, I'll have to get that because it looked like you were having a good time there. Was it your last? I think I caught on the title it was one of the last coho days, or? I did manage to drop my likes. I just didn't manage to jump in the chat. And I'm just gonna preen these hackles back just a hair here so we can get a little bit of room in for our whip finish. And same thing, we're just gonna 3 to 4 rounds right at that back collar there, and it should be pinning down those wing buds if there are any there. Beauty. And a nice simple little Terry's black ant. It can go hang out with its friend. Before we do that, though, we're going to give him a little dab of head cement on that thread collar just to make sure it's not going nowhere. It's not likely to, but that'll soak right into those thread wraps. Oh, got myself a little bit on that hackle. Just a hair. Beauty. Okay, we'll spin that a sec just to get this dry. And there it be. Terry's black ant. Thank you, show flies. Appreciate that. This is a cute little ant, isn't it? Yeah, I did up a bunch of bodies just to speed things up. Because they take about 10 minutes or so for the lacquer to dry correctly, so we're just moving along here. Once they're dry, I can pull them out and do the next one, and as we're doing one, then the next one will be drying, so on and so forth. A little more entertaining than watching the paint dry. We're just going to let that set up a little bit. Hey, Showfly's got a fox today too. We got a little fox, a little otter, a little beaver. I think it's a bulldog. Okay, that should be good. We'll pop him out. He can go hang out with his friend. We'll get another one going here. Yeah, those two turned out pretty good, eh? Like that. Cheers. Too warm in here for tea tonight, so I'm doing some Freshka. Oh, 5 down. Looks like we're on number 6 here. Oh, this will be a half dozen. Oh, that's not straight. It's a little better. That's good enough. We'll make that work. We're just going to start off our thread again at the halfway point. Oop. A little bit ahead of myself there. If you hold up your tag end like I'm doing, it doesn't have to be on a 45-degree angle, but you hold it up on a bit of an angle. It'll cause your thread as you're wrapping it to slide back down and help you make a nice even thread base without having to put a lot of effort in. I want to have the thread stopping right at the barb there. Then we're going to back up and double wrap 3 to 4 times, which will bring us kind of between the point and the barb. Yeah, the fingers are slick, so I'm just going to cut this one. Cut off our tag end. And go back to our black floss. I'm going to cut the end off here so we got a nice clean tie-in point. There we are. Fairly important with the when you're tying in flosses to cut off a nice clean point where they like to fray and go over. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, let's put that in our material clip. Get our half hitch tool out here again. And right back to the middle. Okay. Now our bobbin can just hang out in the bobbin cradle. That'll stop it from wrapping up while we're wrapping our floss. Just gonna check up on the chat here. Okay, Vilgrim's taking off. Good night, Meyer. Good to have you in. Always a pleasure, mate. We're just gonna get a nice even wrap all the way up to that halfway point. Then we'll wrap back. And we're about halfway right there. And then we'll be doubling over what we're doing. Again, you want to try and keep it even. But you're going over this a few times, so don't worry yourself too much about it if you're a little bit off. And then back again. Again, stopping at roughly about the width of your floss each time, and then going back as getting shorter each time. There we are. Now we're ready to do the one wrap in the middle. In this case, two. And then back to the start here. We want to stop just in front of our tying point. Just bringing my thread back up. Get my bobbin cradle out of the way. Got 2 wraps there, and then I'll cut this off. So my tag end will be facing that way, and we'll cover it up when we get the thorax. There, now we can cover up tag end. We're going to make our thread wraps all the way back to the head here again. Just about a thread length from the head. We'll be tying that in, filling that in after. Where did I put my, here we are. I think I got enough. I should have enough here to do one more. We'll make it work. Again, you don't want to tie in frizzy bits like that. You want to make sure you got a nice clean head. Nice clean tie-in point. Make your life a lot easier when you're working with floss. I'll just snag that. You can see how it's just nice clean tie-in point there. We can work that back. Again, we want to work it back roughly a little bit less than our bobbin width. Bring it back up to the tying point at the head, and we'll get some half hitches in there. And we can get the red floss tied in. Has a very slight fray to the floss, about halfway mark, but I don't think it's gonna impact us here. Okay, 2. I'm gonna lay my bobbin up in the cradle here, but I'm not gonna use the rotary for this. So we're only doing a handful of wraps here. Just smoothing out, seeing if I can get that middle section, that fray there, smoothed out a bit, but I think we're good. Okay, we're just gonna wrap all the way forward. We're gonna leave about 2 thread lengths room for the eye, and then all the way back again. I'm stopping just 1 width from the end, and then back again. 1 thread length, or 1 width again. Back again. That moved on me 1 second. Yeah, I'm just gonna have to unravel it here. That's exactly that middle point I was talking about. I was hoping it would play ball, but it looks like it wants to separate, so. It's all good, we'll make her work. There, I think we got her. So 2 to 3 wraps for an anchor point across. Wrap it in. Cross material. 2 to 3. Wrap it in. Excuse me. There's a few little pieces there that I've frayed off that I was trying to avoid, but I think we'll be good. This is the downside and beauty of floss in the same token is it is a beautiful material, but if it has the slightest flaw, it'll stand out. Looks like I got a little bit of a fuzz up top here too, but that should soak in fine when I get the lacquer on it. Okay, so we'll get see 1 or 2 half inches in, then we'll get our whip finish going. I'll try and get it in that spot right by the head there, 2 or 3 thread lengths. Beauty, yeah, that looks fine. Yeah, so this ant head's gonna be, well, give or take 1 wrap, probably 1 wrap lighter than the last one, just because of that frayed section, but I think it'll be just fine. There we go. Got our head in, got our thorax, got our butt, our abdomen. Cut off our thread and we'll get our lacquer going here. There it be. Yeah, that's a good shaped body. Got a little, just a little bit of fuzz there, but I'm thinking the lacquer is gonna help to pin that down for me. Yeah, older dogs can be a lot less spunky. Just gonna get this lacquer all over here. Try and keep the thorax area a little clear. And keep it off the hook there. Speaking of dogs, mine wants outside. Just give me a minute here. He always picks the most amazing times. Just gotta get this set a second or it's gonna be all lopsided. Okay, I think I can leave it like that for a second. A little thread bone's sticking up a little more than I'd like it to. But you can always do a second coat on it after. Generally speaking, it's better to be patient with these things and do a second coat. Well, it's a lumpy ant. Oh well, probably won't. That's actually right where I'm gonna be tying the wing on, so I don't think it's gonna make any difference. I'll do another coat on it after. Might compress a bit as that lacquer dries. Just gonna give it a second here and keep spinning it. I have tried Mod Podge. It works good for. I find it works better for thread bodies because it definitely soaks in. The problem with Mod Podge. Ooh, got a big old moth flying around my head now. Let dog outside and all the moths came in because I got all my filming lights on. They love the filming lights. The problem I had with Mod Podge is it comes apart after in the water, so. She lumpy. She lumpy. That's good. We'll leave her go. Let's stick you over here. You can go in timeout. We'll see if we can delumpify you later. Actually, it's not. It's not horrible. But it could be better. Okay, you're up next. I liked how the head on this one turned out. Like, soaked right in, gave it a really nice kind of dark red. Like that. Yeah, let's get her thread tied back in here. Yeah, my doggo wants everyone to know he's back inside now. He likes to demand treats. But he's a good boy and don't tell him any different. I'm using up some cut-offs from doing hackle. And they're not all exactly the same. It says easier if you're pulling them off the cape. Let's see, I got a cape handy. Let's do that for this one actually, just so you can see the difference. But if you want to use up your hackle ends, this is a great way to use them up. This would be a hackle end that I tie in. This one's a little bit on the thicker side, but it's a great way to use them up. Let me grab a cape here. So if you're not using up pre-cut hackle ends, the nice benefit about using it from a cape is you can get two that are roughly exactly the same size and and pattern, just for lack of a better way to say it. This is cape top. That's where we'll be connecting up to the neck. And you can see just all the lovely little guys up there. Just make perfect little wings. I want to get two that are roughly the same size. If you're picking them from the same spot, they should be the same size. Look at that. These two broke out. I didn't get the full feather, but we don't need it. I would have just cleaned off the fluff anyway. But it's a good size. See there? I'm gonna tie this one in on the front here, and we'll get to the other. I want it to be just a little farther than the abdomen. That'll do. And same thing, gonna go wing number 2. This is a wonderful way to use up that part of the cape that you generally won't really use for anything else. Other than if you're tying like mosquitoes or something real small. They actually make good wings on mosquitoes too. Just gonna pop that back in here. I really like the feathers on this one. Unfortunately, should put like a heavy book on it or something, because it did get pretty, I don't know if you can see it on there, twisted up. Doesn't change the feathers much, but nice. Now we're just gonna try and get those little, what's left of those tag ends out. There's one. There's 2. Okay. And same thing, we're just going to be using this. Nice traditional black rooster. And if your ants in your area have black wings, then you can definitely use this for wings as well. That's it. Traditional recipe calls for it. We get the carpenter ants, and we get the army ants, and all the ones with the wings always have like a light gray to white to almost transparent wing. I wouldn't be surprised if they tied it with the black ones here, just because that's what they were using for the hackle, and it was easier to use the tips up. not be surprised. Okay, got the hackle tied in. Go for that half hitch right behind the head. Again. I don't tie with UV resin, but I imagine if you coated this really good and set it, it might be pretty slick to tie on, so might be something to keep in mind if you're using the UV resin. After a 10-minute set period, this stuff's still just a hair tacky, so the thread bites into it real nice. And again, we're not trying to float this fly. This is just imitating legs. I could go for another wrap there, but I'm quite happy with the way that those look like that, so we're gonna call that good. I should turn the fly here so you can see the hackle easier. I'm just going to open our scissors just a little bit, get a little V-notch in there. The hackle in, and just the tension on that be enough to pop it off. You can use a thread ripper. If you got a nice sturdy thread, you can even just pop it back. Gonna get one half hitch in there, and then we'll get our whip finish going. Free the thread. We'll do a little bit of head cement there. That'll tie the collar in and all our thread wraps. You can see that very slight white that was on the collar there, like that point right there. I'll bring it back down so you guys can see it a little better. You can see that little white spot on the collar is just the lacquer that was being pushed down from the thread. The head cement has a really high acetane level, which is basically nail polish remover. So it'll melt that back into place. And give you a nice clean finish. See, it's nice and shiny black again where it was. Had a little white bit to it. So you can use the head cement to fix up any mistakes that you got going on. When you're saying Matic, are you talking about the, was it Mod Podge, did you say? I don't have too many problem with trolls. I think everyone's welcome in as long as they're gonna behave and enjoy. It's all good. I like the dark red in the head on that one. Yeah, I mean, if you really wanted to, you could put like some mono. That'd be another modification you could make to it. Just put some mono eyes. If you got some black mono filament, that'd look nice, or some bright red. I got some kicking around somewhere. Red would actually look pretty spiggy. And it's not really a big eyeballs though, so could add a little bit of an attraction to it though. I'm spinning this for a bit so we can get some get that last bit of head cement to set in there nice. Okay, you can go hang out with your friends and dry here. There you go. Well, those guys turned out pretty good. Happy with that. There, and it's just this one here we did last time was just a little tacky, so I was able to pop down its lopsided thread loop there. So it's got a nice body shape again. That's why it's always better to just wait until they tack up a bit before you do anything crazy with them. These two are nice and dry. Let's go with this guy here. I'm just going to tie on. We don't need 3 waiting in the queue, so let's just get this one. Some wings and legs on it. Oh, a little bit lopsided. 1 second. That's a little better. There it be. So you talking about like Mod Podge for doing like sticker eyes there, Manic, or are you talking about Mod Podge for like doing the lacquer for the head? Because yeah, it's really good for getting things to set and nice and clear, but I always found it kind of came apart on me after it was in the water for a little while. Maybe I wasn't letting it cure long enough, or maybe I just didn't have very good Mod Podge. Yeah, I'm gonna use up some of these extra hackle tips I got here. There's our hackle. Let's try that one again. Didn't quite sit the way I wanted it to. That's a little better. Both these two wings are going to be a little bit fluffier than the last ones we tied in. Yeah, there we go. Kind of on the fullest side I'd want to see for the wings here, but that'll work. Oh, I can't believe I haven't modded Manic. I'm sure I've modded Manic before. One second, let me fix that. There you go, Manic. Not sure what happened there. I thought for sure I had you as a mod. YouTube be funny like that. Alright, let's get another black. This one will do. Black rooster. Just gonna strip off all the fluff. And let's take a little bit more off the top and the bottom. tie that in here. Bring it back. Get our nice half hitch right behind the head. Yeah, when we tighten down the half hitch, you can see the lacquer just bubbled a little there on the white. Once we put our head cement on, that'll disappear. It'll melt it back in. I felt that slipping. I'll try that again. Alright, let's try that one more time. Almost had it tied off. Yeah, that was close. I got greedy there, tried to get one extra wrap in. Yeah, we're just gonna go right there. I'm not worried about that extra wrap. Yeah, there we are. One, two, three, maybe four. There it'd be. And we'll seal that up with a little bit of head cement, just on the thread collar. Don't need much, just a whiff. Will help to melt that back in place. It makes for a really nice, secure finish as well, because that melted lacquer will harden up real nice once it soaks into the thread wraps. I like the way that one turned out. Nice little buggy bug. Nice little ant. I like that. Thought the wings might be a hair too big, but I kind of like them a little fluffy like that. Yeah, sorry, man. I swear I had you modded before, but I don't know. YouTube can be weird. I'm gonna blame it on YouTube. My memory is not at fault. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it for tonight, guys, at that one. He can go hang out with his friends here. We got a nice little batch of ants. One needs to call an exterminator. Cute little guys. There's all his friends. There we are. Thanks for hanging out with me, everyone. Appreciate all the hard work. Thank you, anybody. Yeah, everyone have a good night. Enjoy. We'll do up some more ants next time too. I'll get a good couple dozen gun there. But for now, I'm gonna go relax and enjoy. Do a little gaming before bed.